The real gold in this era is context, and agents need context, and context comes from conversations, and conversations live in Slack. And what happens when you bring that conversational data along with that system of record data, like things like your CRM, you start to get opportunities to have features like Slackbot. Slackbot is a new personal assistant right inside of Slack. It knows all the conversations that you're having, teams, the channels, all those things. It knows your data, it knows your calendar, and you can put it to work. And so I can say things like, hey, Slackbot, what's my team up to this today? And what are some things that my team's working on that maybe I need to engage on? And it can go through and read all those conversations and look at that and surface that right in the flow of work. Something that might have taken me, minutes, maybe hours to dig through and kind of find all the relevant information happens there in a second.
What does the future of work look like?
I don't know what work's going to look like in 10 years. I know it's going to be wildly different than it feels today. But here's the things that are true. The human potential and the human creativity and the human ingenuity is going to be at the heart of work. 10 months from now, 24 months from now, 10 years from now, guaranteed.
Hey everyone, we're here at Dreamforce. I'm here with Ryan, the CMO of Slack.
Hi, so great to be here.
I'm so excited because I feel like we have so much agentic things to talk about today.
It's all agents.
Exactly. Yeah, I was like prepping our talk and then listening to your past podcasts. Like we're talking about agentic. Like so nowadays, like people are not marketing to human, but people are marketing to agent now. Is that correct?
Well, it could be in some cases. The idea that our team, the people that we work with, is going to increasingly expand, and we're going to have these digital coworkers that are going to really feel like teammates. And the fact that you can put those teammates to work and to work for you. And that's really kind of this era that we're moving into, where work is going to really start to transform, where people are going to have all these new capabilities enabled by agentic coworkers. And that's, we're really excited on the Slack team because that's where the perfect place for agents to come together with teammates is where you're already working. And that's a lot of what we're working on.
I'm like so excited. So maybe if you want to share with us like some new Slack feature, because I think people are probably very excited to hear about everything AI in Slack. So obviously I feel like Slack is like the place where people have the most amount of context of different things. Like, it's kind of like a combination of like email and like your chat group, your like best team chat, like water cooler conversation.
Sure, yeah.
All in together.
Yeah.
Maybe we could talk about, what are some features that you are most excited about?
Well, we can talk about, that would take the whole pod if we took all the features I'm most excited about. But I'll tell you, you touched on a key word that I just want to build on, is what you're talking about, context. And we have lots of innovations that are coming in Slack. We've announced a bunch here at Dreamforce. But at the heart of many of those, in fact, maybe at the heart of all of those, is context. And all these agents, all this AI that we're talking about, it all needs data, right? It needs data from like systems of record, whether it be like your CRM or your Workday, et cetera. But the real gold in this era is context. And agents need context. And context comes from conversations, and conversations live in Slack, to your whole point. And what happens when you bring that conversational data along with that system of record data, things like your CRM, you start to get opportunities to have features like Slackbot, which is one that we launched at the show today. And you have a pin, which I love. The Slackbot pin is amazing. Slackbot is a new personal assistant right inside of Slack. And Slackbot's been in Slack for years, but it's kind of been more of like just a notifier, things like that. Now it's actually this true like agentic assistant that knows your context. It knows all the conversations that you're having, the teams, the channels, all those things. It knows your data. It knows your calendar. And you can put it to work. And so I can say things like, hey, Slackbot, what's my team up to this today? And what are some things that my team's working on that maybe I need to engage on? And it can go through and read all those conversations and look at that and surface that right in the flow of work. Something that might have taken me, minutes, maybe hours to dig through and kind of find all the relevant information happens there in a second. And then I can say things like, that's amazing. Can you write that up in a summary that I can send to my boss, but do it in her tone?
Exactly. It's very crucial.
It's like, it's crazy. And it knows the tone, and it can knows the tone of how I write. It can know the tone of others write, and then create that content for me. And like up and going, I start my day like in seconds. I'm caught up. I know what my team's going on. I've informed the people I need to. So Slackbot's new feature that we just announced. It's rolling out early next year, but we couldn't be more excited to let our customers get a hold of it.
To talk about, Slack has like a lot of different customers. How are they using the Slack product?
Yeah.
Obviously, for me, my biggest thing is like, I'm on Slack, just like with team member, we send like these emojis and Slack emojis, and I feel like that's my dinner starter conversation with a lot of like the dinners that I've been hosting.
Sure.
It's like, what's your favorite Slack emoji? For all the Gentlemen out there, everybody's this.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll start with like, what's your favorite Slack emoji?
Oh man, it changes based on the week. Honestly, I don't have like one, but the one I've been using recently is the dead one, where the little guy's just laying there, just like dead. Yeah. Especially in the week of Dreamforce, we do all this work, and sometimes people are like, "How are you feeling?" I'm dead. So I love that one. It makes me laugh every time. But you were talking about customers. Can I just build on your asking how customers were talking about the one of the things that's really, really cool. So you saw something like Vercel, someone we were just chatting about, did announcements with OpenAI, Anthropic this week, Notion, Perplexity. What's really cool about these companies, and not just like the most innovative like AI companies, we're talking like the biggest companies like IBM, AWS, GM is another customer that we featured this week. You know, they don't think about Slack as this tool that they just use for collaborating. They think of it as their work operating system, this agentic OS that is how are they bringing together all their people, all their data, all their tools, their workflows, including all your emojis and all that wonderful stuff. And how are you connecting that into a place where that is how they run the company? You know, if you talk to OpenAI is where they built and test ChatGPT. It's where they grow and develop and think about the next things that are going to go build. It's where all their workflows for how they automate their sales teams come through. You know, Box uses Slack as their work platform. They estimate they save about $5 million a year just by bringing all their sales and processes inside of Slack. So, you know, it is really this exciting time where, you know, Slack is more than 10 years old now, but it almost feels like this is the moment it was made for. You know, Slack stands for the searchable log of all conversation and knowledge, which is really cool. And, you know, what a perfect time for that.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's like, you heard it.
Yeah, the searchable log for all conversation and knowledge. And think about that in this moment. Like, what do you need right now? I need to have all my conversation. I need to have all my knowledge. I need to be able to search it and act on it. And that's what Slack is.
I know from the startup land, we only know the fun startup story about Slack, which is like, you know, it was a gaming
company. That's right. Yeah.
And then later on I transitioned into because of like the Slack people were like chatting, like it's like an internal tool.
They were using it internally to build the game. Yeah, that's exactly right.
It's kind of like how you create the best tools to like, you know, you need to search things internally, and then now it become like a popular tool for everybody else.
It can happen that way. Yeah, it's a pretty remarkable story.
Yeah, that's crazy. Wow, that's like actually very like I say 2020.
Well, you heard it here first. Yeah.
Nowadays, like I remember searching on like their like Asian platform. I feel like that's speaking of startups.
Yeah.
I have to selfishly ask you, like, because our audience a lot of them are like startup NPCs.
Sure.
And they probably are curious about like, you know, what do you think startups should build on top of like a Slack platform? So we've actually heard about people building using a Slack, like mixing Slack like contacts with their email and doing other stuff. Like, what are something that, you know, you feel like startups should be focusing on or like not focusing on?
It's a really good question. It is the best time in history, I think, to be a startup. I say that just at the broadest level because a startup right now can act like a 2,000 person company or a 5,000 person company. True. Because the tools that you have available to you, the scale that those tools can be applied, like this AI, it democratizes access to scale. Before, as you were growing your company and you wanted to do more things, you had to get a bunch of capital in because you needed to hire people because that was the only way you could grow. It's not the case anymore. So what an exciting time to be a startup. And like, you know, if I could go back and do everything again and turn these white hairs into brown, I'd go back and do my own startup right now. But stop. But the thing that, you know, to go to your question, what's really cool about Slack is the most innovative companies are building their products into Slack. So I mentioned OpenAI. They announced their ChatGPT integration. They have a Codex Slack integration. Anthropic has brought Claude into Slack now. We showed at our Slack keynote, if you get a chance to watch it, we showed Vercel, which is an incredibly powerful platform. We showed their V0 agent, vibe coding, right side of Slack. And so what does that mean for a startup? Well, maybe you have, you know, a couple engineers, you've got, you know, some product people, maybe you got a marketing person or sales people. All those people can now do all the roles. Your entire organization can build. So you use Vercel as an example in the V0 agent. Everyone in the company can design the next product, just talking in Slack, using natural language, using conversation. And you can extend that to every single category, whether it's in sales and you want to use Gong as your, you know, to record sales calls, or, you know, we just launched a new ITSM if you're in the service space. All those things can work out of Slack. And that's what's powerful. Slack is your operating system, is you say, okay, what are the tools I need? And the great news is our ecosystem is so strong that all those vendors are building those tools right inside of Slack. So it's a really cool time to kind of build and to be able to take advantage of all these tools. And the thing that really democratizes this is the interface for these tools has changed from this world of tabs and clicks, and going from browser screen to browser screen to browser screen to a world of ask me what I want to do. Tell me what you want me to do.
Exactly.
Just a conversational interface to get work done.
The team Slack. So this morning we had two very exciting conversations. One is IRL here with the CTO of Salesforce, and then I asked him what's his favorite AI tool. He obviously mentioned Slack.
Okay, great. Glad to hear it. Yeah.
And then from our audience, today I also went live with a partner at Peter, and then she was asking. I mentioned that I will be having a conversation with you on our show, and then she basically asked you a question about what's your favorite AI tool to use today.
Well, number one is Slackbot. We did talk about it. I use it every single day. It's kind of one of those tools that it's like inside of Salesforce. It's having its ChatGPT moment. When ChatGPT rolled out and everyone was like, "What is this thing?" It's a weird acronym, and all of a sudden everyone's using it. It kind of had that rapid development. Slackbot's having that kind of moment inside of Salesforce. 80,000 people have access to this thing, and it's just going viral. There's a canvas that we have, which is a composable surface area inside of Slack called Canvas, and there's all these people are sharing all their stealable prompts that they're using Slackbot with, and it started off as 15 or 20 prompts, and I think last time I looked at several hundred. And now people have put in all these prompts. So Slackbot is certainly my favorite.
What about what's your favorite prompt? How would you?
I mean, yeah, I really love, I don't do a good enough job always staying on top of everything that I should be staying on top of. So I really asking Slackbot, saying, what is my team working on? But show me the things they're working on that may require my attention or where they're looking for my attention and I haven't engaged. So I can very quickly have Slackbot read all my Slacks and say, oh, your team's spending a lot of time and energy in this area. You've been brought up a few times, but you haven't engaged over here. This might be an area you need to spend some time on and focus on, or your team may need some help in this area because there's a lot of people focusing on it and you're not engaged, or I haven't seen you in that channel, or I haven't seen you talk to anybody about it. And it's a really, really cool way to quickly know what I need to focus on. It's also really fun to ask Slackbot things like, give me feedback on my management style, or give me feedback on my leadership style.
Oh my God, I fear to ask that question.
It's the best. No, it's the best because now you get this objective, third-party tool that can go and reading your Slack messages.
What if Slack think I'm too intense? Is Slack gonna cancel me?
No, it's gonna coach you lovingly to your best state.
I can't wait for Slack coaching something.
Yeah. I mean, feedback's a gift, Grace. So we lean into it. Yeah. But I'm sure Slackbot was going to think you're doing an amazing job.
I will start by giving your feedback on the feedback.
Got it.
Okay. So maybe we could talk about, I guess one of the things about marketing is nowadays, I was listening to you on other marketing podcasts about nowadays one person can be a 10 people team because they can use different AI tools. How do you think about leveraging different AI tools for your own work as a marketer? Talk about what does the future of work look like, whether it's marketing or learning Slack or maybe just in general, what are we supposed to do?
It's a really fair question because there is a lot of, there's a spectrum of how people feel about AI tools. In some cases, there's people who are the super excited, amazing, just believe this is going to be an incredible unlock. And then on the other side of the spectrum, there's people who are just generally, nervous about it. What does this mean for me? And just make what I do less relevant, et cetera. And the reality is, I've got, youngish kids and I don't know what work's going to look like in 10 years. I know it's going to be wildly different than it feels today, but I can't even predict it. Yeah, maybe in 10 months. Great. It's a great point. But here's the things that are true. One, the human potential and the human creativity and the human ingenuity is going to be at the heart of work. 10 months from now, 24 months from now, 10 years from now, guaranteed. And we have the opportunity to really enhance that with these tools and capabilities, just like technology has enhanced it in the past. All these revolutions that have happened, these are major ones, but it always propels the human capability forward. And I firmly believe that this is going to be the case with this kind of AI revolution that we're in right now. And so what does it mean for work? It means the people who remain creative and the people who remain inquisitive, the people who want to take that beginner's mindset, and just always be learning and always be wondering. And so you ask, how do we think about it in our work? And, one of the things I do right now, and I encourage my team to do, is when we come and say, anytime we want to do something, whether it's growing the business, helping make a new customer successful, whatever it is, there's always a bottleneck. There's always something that slows us down from going faster. And bottlenecks always exist because by definition, we're not going at infinity pace. So there's always something that's keeping you from going as fast as you want to go. And so how do we show up every day and say, well, what is the bottleneck that's keeping us from going a little bit faster today? What's the biggest bottleneck? And then what AI tools could help us accelerate or push through that bottleneck? So a very simple example of like, we want to build a new incredible web experience for X, Y, and Z. Well, the engineers are really busy right now. They've got a backlog of all this kind of stuff. And so we're going to have to reprioritize or do a bunch of work. And I was like, oh, that's a bottleneck. Well, what if we just vibe coded it in Slack? And what if we did it? And what if we took those superpowers and put it to work and get through that bottleneck? And so I look at every part of the business with the team and we find those bottlenecks and we ask, how can AI be applied to help us go faster? And you just keep doing that. There's no one stop solution. There's no, hey, it's solved. It's an everyday iterative process just to get 5% faster, 10% faster. And when you add up all those little increments, you can like double, triple the productivity of your team. And the reality is that productivity gain is what drives top line revenue growth. So, you've got a lot of startups and people who are looking to grow their businesses. One of the most undervalued, misunderstood drivers of growth is employee productivity. Most companies spend like 50 to 60% of all their money on people. So what happens if you can make those people twice as productive? Well, you could grow your revenue by 50%, 100%. And so that's the kind of mentality I think you have to have when you're thinking about these AI tools inside of work.
I love that. Speaking of employees or your team, nowadays our team have agents. So how should we manage agents? And then what is like the agent orchestration kind of look like from now on, whether it's marketing or any field in general?
Yeah, we have a product design principle in Slack that I love. And there's actually two that I'll talk about. One is don't make me think. So the idea of like, I should be able to use this technology without like a bunch of cognitive burden. It should be intuitive. It should just work the way I think it should work. And I should be able to figure it out. And the second one is be a great host. And so when you think about those two product design principles, what does that mean in the world of agents? Well, it means agents should work just like teammates work. So you and I know how to chat on Slack. You could mention me, you can add me to a channel, you can assign me an action item, you can look up in Slack and see what my role is and see what skills and capabilities I have. Agents should just work like that. So right inside of Slack, we've got a tab, their agents, where I can see all the agents that are available to me. I can understand their job description, like what are they capable of? What are the things they're trained on? What are the things that they can do? What are the actions they can take? And then I can engage those agents just like I would a teammate, and I can get them in the flow of work. And if we're in a channel and we add an agent and I ask a question of the agent, maybe it's a sales agent or we're working on the next deal, you could come in over the top and say, well, that's a good idea, but what about this? And then we could assign that agent some tasks to go do while we go, work on something else. So, that idea of this agents feeling like a digital coworker right inside of Slack is one of the reasons why Slack's having kind of such an incredible moment right now, because all these enterprises are building agents. Like it's agents, it's like a drinking game right now every time you hear the word agent. And the problem is inside of an organization is like, where are these agents going to live? Are we just going to have to go to all these other different places? Like they need a home. And shouldn't their home be right where your teammates are? So you're engaging with them just like you would on any other teammate.
Do you feel like the future of marketing is like one to dominate all, or like so? Because like I feel like living in the startup land, a lot of the founders are like they have one entry point. Let's call it like writer or like some other AI tools that like they enter with like solving one specific problem, and then they branch out to like 400 other things. Like,
Sure.
Do you feel like in the marketing realm, like is that gonna be like the case, or like one place takes all, or like do you feel like it's gonna be more towards like, oh, we're gonna ensemble like 5 tools together instead of like 55 tools? Since I feel like nowadays I'm using besides ChatGPT and Slack, and there's like so many sub tools that like everyone's charging $50. I'm like, very scared as a solo person.
Sure.
What's your reason?
There's not going to be one tool to rule them all in any way, shape, or form. Like there's going to be so many interesting solutions out there, so much interesting code going to be written and capabilities. But what you are going to see our organizations are going to make a deliberate decision to say, I want to have one work platform. I want to have one work operating system. That's my anchor for my employees. And inside of that, I want to bring the tools and the capabilities to my team. I don't want my team to have to go to them. So one of the challenges of what you're talking about right now, with all these tools and all the applications, it's the swivel chairing. Like, I'm going to this app, then this app, and this app, and this app. And it turns out that's a huge strain on productivity. All that context switching throughout a day. So, startups and organizations saying, I'm going to be thoughtful about using lots of tools, but I'm going to bring them into the flow of work. And I want those tools to be agentic, meaning I don't want to have my employees to go learn a new user interface. I just want them to be able to talk to an agent and access that tool. So all those tools will have agents that will come in, and then those agents will update the system of record. So they'll keep your CRM up to date, but you're just doing it all inside of Slack. Vercel, as I talked about earlier, they have a goal that none of their sellers will ever have to enter in information in the CRM again. They'll only talk to Slack through an agent, and that agent will keep their CRM up to date. And this is like, updating your CRM should be as easy as having a conversation in Slack, and that's what we're building. So I think that's the transformation, the shift that we're seeing.
Love that. On that note, I will let my agent talk to your agent.
Yeah, that sounds good.
We'll wrap with the last one. Is like, what's your favorite activity at the Disneyland of SaaS/Dreamforce?
Oh my goodness. Well, I don't know if it's an activity as much, but I get so much energy talking to our amazing customers. I mentioned Engine is a customer that we featured here at the show, GM, Fox, Vercel, all these incredible customers that we get to spend time with and learn from, understand their journeys and what they're doing. And then we get to come, very fortunate to come alongside them and say, how can we help be successful? So this is like my Super Bowl for customer meetings, in addition to meeting wonderful people like you. And so it's been amazing.
Amazing.
So, yeah.
Love that. Well, Ryan, thank you so much for
Thank
coming on
you.
the show today. It was such a fun conversation.
Great. It's been so fun. Thank you, Grace. Awesome.